Hello, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Samuel64 and welcome back to the RoboCast. At long last, it is back because obviously Robot Wars Series 10 starts within the next few days. Let's, crack on with the traditional super long intro video, but I don't think we're going to be going for 3 hours this year. Joining me, as ever, is my one and only Mr. Anderson9132, recently happily married. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. It's great to be back. I'm ready to rant, rave, have fun. I'm looking forward to this series. I really am. There's some new stuff, some old stuff, some silly stuff, but we'll get onto that, I'm sure.
Oh, we absolutely will. But obviously, the first thing that we have to really talk about is the brand new layout for this series, which I'm kind of torn between. I did enjoy the round robin conceptually. I thought it was a really cool idea, but obviously towards the end of Series 9 it got a bit samey, I felt. So I think it's good that they're spicing things up with a new layout, and as well as that, only 30 robots. I'm kind of, remember when everyone said when Series 8 came out, 40 robots is nowhere near enough, there needs to be more competitors in the series. They actually taken some away, which is kind of strange. But at least all of the 30 look really, really good this series.
Yeah, I'm in sort of two minds about this new layout as well. I prefer it to the round robin. I was never a fan of the round robin. I think everyone knows that. For reasons. I actually prefer the fact that this time everyone gets a second chance.
Yes.
Because I didn't get the idea of the round robin meaning you got to see more of the robots when it meant that we still didn't get to see all the first round losers at least more than once.
We got to see more of the round 2 guys, but that was about it, really.
Yeah, I mean, Foxit could have benefited from this layout, guys. Just saying. But, pray for Craig.
Pray for Craig.
We'll
get on to him in a bit, I'm sure. But obviously, the way the new layout works even is that there are 6 robots per heat, 2 3-way melees. One of those goes through to the next round. Then the 4 losers will have 2 1-on-1s. The losers of those go home. The winners of those go through. And then it's a heat semi-final format and heat final from there. But the losers of the heat semi-finals get to fight again for a place in a 10-way melee to get into the grand final. I mean, you know how, again, we didn't have the wild card in previous series was, a random selection by the judges. We get to see a 10-way fight instead of a 5-way fight. I'm so in for that. Yeah,
and it's actually a fight as well. We actually get to see robots earn their right. And that, I mean, this thing is, right, this battle, that 10-way can go either way for me. It can either be a clusterfuck of brilliance, or it's a case of there's just too much going on, you can't even keep up with it. I'm willing to believe it's going to be more the former. I'm keeping my options open. I hope it's a bit of both, to be honest with you. Like, I'm all down for a good, especially in the olden days when they had the Annihilators and such, that... Oh, yeah.
The opening rounds of those were just, you had no idea what was going on. So I'm hoping it's a bit of that, plus a bit of, as the fight goes on, machines, falling by the wayside, that sort of thing. You get the stronger competitors doing really well.
Yeah.
But anyway.
There's one thing I do argue a little bit, though, is although I am happy with the new format, I would turn around and say that I would rather there be... I mean, this is, again, the kind of obvious one. I'd rather there be a few more heats.
Yeah, absolutely. But
obviously, we can't change that. Let's get on with it.
That's something that the BBC will have to decide if they want to do that in the future. I mean, I'm okay with it only being 6 episodes per series and having more small series. I've kind of got used to that now, but I would have loved a really long, say 10 heat and then 2 semi-finals and a final, whatever. I don't know. But anyway, we will move on, and we will start with our reviews and critiques and praises and, maybe a few negatives along the way of the competitors. I'm sure everyone's sitting comfortably at home for this one. And we'll start with the first heat, which is starting on the 22nd of October. And we'll start with our former champions, Apollo. Entirely new robot. Looks the part. For me, I think, the last one, while it was still effective, Apollo in Series 9, you could tell that it was an old machine. This one, however, brought up to the modern age, new internals, new externals. It looks fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, it's a kind of case where a lot of people will think, they've done nothing to it, but it's the kind of one where it's actually a completely new robot. Sure, it looks the same, but it's a complete rebuild. It's a bit smaller and more compact, if I'm right in thinking.
It looks smaller and compact, at least, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, hopefully that might make it a bit tougher. It does look like it could do some serious bot kicking again this time around. I don't know if it will have as much of a chance as it had in the previous two series to win its heat, because it's quite a stacked heat this year, and there are some fantastic machines this year as well. But all good luck to them. I mean, I think personally, especially after all the hard work they put into building a brand new one, it definitely deserves to do well. So.
The thing is, like, you look at last series, okay, with Apollo, the only robots that beat it were Carbide and Aftershock, and there's no disgrace there.
Yeah.
So,
no.
So the fact that those are the only two machines that actually beat them last series, there's a good chance we'll be seeing Apollo in the later stages of the competition once again. Move on to the next robot alphabetically. Well, in fact, this is actually the first robot alphabetically. I completely messed up, but it's actually Apocalypse, a new machine entering into the UK's TV series. Been on the live circuit for a while. It's got a nice hammer over the top. It looks, for me at least, it looks a bit Big Nipper-esque. But obviously, it has an axe over the top on the live circuit. And for the TV show, they've added sort of Splinter-esque grabbing arms to hold people in place and then hit them with the axe. I really like this. It's it doesn't look terribly destructive, but I just like the way it looks. I think it looks very tidy to me.
I mean, to me, it looks like the love child of Big Nipper and Splinter, and that's a good thing in my opinion. That's a good thing in my opinion, because I love Big Nipper, I love Splinter, especially Splinter. I always thought that was a very underrated robot. I like I do like Blood Destruction, don't get me wrong, but I also like control weapons, like Panic Attack, like Behemoth's axe and scoop combination, and like Splinter's axe and double axe arm sort of idea. And I honestly, whilst again it might not be the most destructive in the world, so obviously Reddit's going to have a field day with this one. I do think that it has its place. It's a unique something we haven't really seen a lot since Splinter design, and I really hope it does well. Again, I don't know how well it'll do. You can't really turn around and say how well you think it'll do, but I hope it does well, because it looks really tidy, like you said as well. It looks nice and refined, pretty robot, nice weaponry. Good luck. Hope it does well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Apocalypse could be not. I wouldn't say they're going to win the heat or anything, but I think they're certainly dark horses. They're not going to be taken lightly. I think that's a good thing to have. Next up is the unluckiest robot in history, according to most of the internet, Behemoth. I will say, thinking about it, last series they were really unlucky. Obviously
they were very unlucky.
If they hadn't have just use the scoop, then they'd have been fine and be in Cherub. But obviously, we're not going to get into that. That's just a minefield. We're not going to go there. Yeah. Behemoth returns. This time, they've also brought back the axe from Extreme 1 onwards. I think they had the axe from.
Yeah, Extreme 1 onwards they had it for, until Series 7, and then they got rid of it again.
Ironically, a better grabber than their actual grabbing weapon, which, again, is quite cool. But Behemoth's solid. Behemoth's a solid machine. Heat finalists again, or is that a stretch too far for Behemoth in this time?
Oh, I have no idea. The thing is with Behemoth is it's completely unpredictable. You could swear it. I mean, last year you would have sworn it would have been a Heat finalist again, and it wasn't. The year before you would have thought, actually, Terahertz will have this thing by its arse, and it didn't. Yeah, yep. It's a very unpredictable robot. Both because it can both pull it out of the bag and also catastrophically fail at the same time.
Yep.
I hope it does well. Again, I hope every robot does well, in all honesty. But, to an extent, I don't see it going that far again, just because we know the Behemoth curse. But now I've said that, hopefully it'll do well.
Now it's going to win the series. You know that now, don't you?
Obviously, I say Hobgoblin's going to win. It fucks up in the first round. I say this is going to do really bad. It wins the series, obviously. There we go.
I really like Behemoth. I think, honestly, I used to really not like it when it was slow and ponderous, and I just thought, why is this so highly regarded? When obviously when they upgraded it in Series 6, since then I've just thought, this thing's a unit. It moves and it shifts, and it's just a really great piece of engineering. And I hope Behemoth do well. They've got a tough heat, but I think maybe if the stars align, you never know, they might be able to pull something out of the bag. We'll have to wait and see.
I remember many old Skype chats from years ago with you, Sam, debates on Behemoth in Series 3 and 4. All these memories are flooding back now. Bloody hell. God, I feel old. By the way, just for those of you who don't know, me and Sam have been friends now for over 8 years.
Yep, it's kind of scary.
That is scary.
How have I managed to cope for so long? We move on.
Oh.
We'll move on to Donald Thump, Um, make Robot Wars great again. I love this. I mean, it's like if Cranky and Donald Trump got together, made Sweet Love, and this came out of it. It's great. It's got straw hair. Who doesn't want straw hair?
No.
I mean, I don't even know if it's going to be bad or not, because it looks really competently made. I don't know. It might be amazing.
This is like a modern Dietor to me. I mean, it's competently made, but it's there for a laugh, you know? So
Yeah.
it's sort of even balance. Dare I say it, we could see a nuclear performance from this?
Oh my god.
Oh,
Oh my
yes.
god.
I've just declared World War Three, haven't I? Yeah.
Yeah.
Donald Trump is going to us now.
My,
Redditch
my,
is going to go up in a plume of smoke.
my real question is, how on earth did they get away with this on the BBC, who are meant to be politically neutral? I know that's an entirely different kettle of fish, but the point still stands.
Right.
I mean, look, I think in all fairness, I don't think anyone cares how well this thing does. It's just hilarious, and
Yes.
I'm all in for Donald Thump, and I hope the guy.
I want it to do well. I hope it goes far.
I wanted to do well. I wanted to do well, but I don't think anyone cares if like even if it doesn't. I think everyone's gonna love Donald Thump. I really do.
Could go down in history as a fun legend.
Yeah, absolutely. Very topical as well.
Yes.
Moving on. Is Sabretooth Heat finalist in the last series? I don't think they could have returned with much of the last Sabretooth, because I mean there wasn't much left, to be honest. Was the Aftershock certainly put pain to Gabe and the team. The new one, very similar in terms of in terms of style, but actually designed by someone different. Do you know who it was designed by?
No, I don't actually. No.
It was designed by Mr. Craig Danby.
Oh, was it really? Ooh, sort of.
So this is Craigertooth.
Craigertooth. Knowing his luck, this is going to win now.
I know, yeah. He designs this robot, and it's gonna win the series. No, I again, there's nothing wrong with Sabretooth. Sabretooth's got it's really solid design. It looks good. It's probably going to be really effective in the arena. Could be a dark horse to win this heat. I really think Sabretooth are going to be there or thereabouts in this heat.
They look a lot more butch this year.
Yeah, it's a lot chunkier.
The last one looked a bit flimsy, and I think with a bit more butchness to it, I think it might have a bit more of a chance of surviving them heavy hitters.
Yeah.
Like Aftershock and Carbide.
And Donald Thump, obviously.
And Donald Thump, obviously.
Yeah.
Because obviously, and Granny's Revenge, little kicky boot thing. I mean, that was just the most feared weapon in the world.
Yep.
But yeah, hopefully it'll do well.
Absolutely. Could it win the series? I mean, it's certainly got the
it's got the potential.
Yeah, it's certainly it's not going to be a cakewalk for them. There's a lot of good machines, but I think Sabretooth, considering they're on a bit of a roll now, they've got to win under their belts. Maybe this is their time. Who knows?
The thing is, drum spinners are starting to really make their way out there. I mean, I remember back in the early days of Robot Wars, or back in the original days of Robot Wars, drum spinners weren't that effective. I mean, you had Barbara Guess could be effective at times.
And Shere Khan, and that was pretty much it.
Yeah, I mean, the Dutch Wars slicer, that one series, one of the Dutch Wars, but again, that wasn't like the most feared drum spinner. That was more due to its driving control. Meanwhile, these days, they've sort of picked up a bit more of a punch.
Yeah.
And they could be the new weapon to look out for. We've had flippers, we've had flywheels.
Look at Minotaur and BattleBots. I mean, obviously, exactly. I think unlucky not to win the whole thing, to be honest with you, Minotaur. But there's no reason why Sabretooth couldn't be at least competitive. Moving on to the final robot in Heat 1. I know, kind of shocking that we're done already with Heat 1, but it is the Swarm. The Watts family returns with the Swarm.
Please last longer than Orte.
Yeah, any longer than 3 seconds we're in credit. But I mean, all four of them look kind of cool. I love multibots, and I think the fact that we've got 4 robots in there with Apollo, 20-kilo machines with Apollo is just going to go flying. It's great.
I love cluster bots as well, especially when there's something done with them. Like, again, going to the Dutch Wars Series 2, W.J. Dijkstra and a couple of other Dutch guys that no one cares about, they entered, I'm only joking, of course we do, they entered V3, which was like an F1 car, which split into 3 parts.
Yep.
they've done some. This is another one where they've done something with it. They've made 4 little bug robots that all have different weapons and work in different ways. Will they be effective? That's another question for another day, I think, because I don't know. Because the thing is, featherweights can be do have the power to take on heavyweights,
Yes, they do these days.
but the weight advantage is a huge difference, and that's always going to be a problem.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the Swarm it looks great, and I think that's more the point. It looks great. It looks fun. I hope they do well.
They've done something with the concept of a clusterbot, and I respect them greatly for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Heat 1, pick your winner.
Oh shit! This is a difficult. Sorry, I wasn't expecting that already. I was hoping to think about that through the episode. No, okay. Honestly, oh good grief! I like Apollo's chances. I like Sabretooth's chances. Out of the two, I would probably give it maybe to Sabretooth, believe it or not, because Apollo doesn't like being hit by hard spinners that much. Well, the old one did. I don't know if this one does or not, but out of the two, I'd probably give it to Sabretooth. That's why.
I'm actually going to go for the other one. I'm going to go for Apollo. I think Apollo has got a real good chance at winning the series back. That's
yeah, because this is the first of the reboot series where you have not seen anything, isn't it?
No, I was not there this time. I was out of money. I couldn't afford to go to Scotland this time. But yeah, I think
it was my birthday.
It was your birthday. I think Apollo's going to win this heat. I think it's going to be close, but I think Apollo's got a really good chance at winning that heat. I think if they don't win that heat, it's going to be probably Sabretooth who wins it. But we'll see. We'll see. Anyway, our next heat sees the return of our reigning champions, Carbide. They've got a tough challenge, but Anderson, I know you believe that they're going to win the series again, don't you?
Yeah, pretty much. In all honesty, I can't guarantee that, but I do think it's got a very, 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 very strong chance. I mean, it steamrolled everything last time.
Yeah.
I can see it doing the same here, but at the same time, I mean, it only takes one nut or one screw to go wrong, and that's it. You can't guarantee these things. But, I mean, let's be honest, it's Carbide. It's going to wreck it. It's going to at least do something to one robot, surely.
I mean, the way it just decimated the whole of last series, it reminded me of when Chaos 2 first burst onto the scene in Series 3.
Yeah.
The fact that nothing was on the same level.
I think we could see a repeat of that, because, I mean, even to the point where Chaos 2, its first struggle after debuting in Series 3, not counting the World Championships, was Stinger.
Yeah.
That was its first struggle. That's almost 2 series worth of battles in its first struggle, not counting the World Championships, was Stinger.
Yep.
So,
I mean, Carbide's a wonderful robot, and I think it's going to be really hard to stop it again. I mean, I think, ultimately, if they do go on and win the whole thing again, they'd fully deserve it, but it's not going to be easy. This heat in particular, oh boy. Oh boy. Yeah. It has our returning runners-up as well, Eruption, from last series. Very similar to last year, the fact that, Apollo and Carbide were together this year. Eruption and Carbide are together. Eruption is the flipper we all know and love. Great robot. Fast around the arena floor. Aggressive. What more can you say?
Okay, anyone who knows me reasonably well will know I'm not a massive fan of Eruption. Sorry, Michael, love you. But I find it boring because it just goes in, flips them out the arena, that's it, a match over in like less than a minute. That's just me, but I would more than happy to admit it's a very, very good robot. It's a very good robot. It's well-designed, well-built, well-driven, and yes, it does have a strong potential to go all the way as well.
Yeah, you say it's boring, but at the end of the day, that's how you win. And
that's the annoying thing about it.
Let's be frank here. I think Eruption and their featherweight explosions won pretty much everything ever.
Yes,
except this title.
Yes, except the Grand Robot Wars Championship. And to be honest, I think they have a strong chance of doing it as well. I mean, like you said, boring wins. I can completely accept that. I just hope it doesn't.
My cat's just came in the room. Oh dear. But we'll move on. We'll move on from Eruption and my cat, and we'll go on to Aftershock. They were 4th place last year, but unfortunately Ironside aren't in this series, so it's their 3rd place effectively. So our top 3 from last year are all in the same heat, which is kind of crazy.
That is stupid. It is stupid. I'm sorry. Here we go. Rant time. This is dumb. I am angry about this. I do not like this. I think it's silly. There we go.
I could kind of understand it last year because Apollo and Carbide had a bit of a rivalry going on, but Eruption and Carbide didn't.
Yeah.
And
And what is Aftershock in there?
I mean, why not?
Indeed.
Yeah. Aftershock is just it's a destroyer of worlds, isn't it? I mean, we saw what happened last series. They've improved the machine. Can it beat Carbide and Eruption though this time? I think it was going to beat Eruption last year before they broke down.
Yes, I think personally, had they have not changed their disc, that spinning bar, I think they could have taken Carbide then.
I'm skeptical of that.
I know the reason why I say that is because the bar didn't have as much. Sorry, there's what I'm trying to say is basically the bar didn't offer as much protection to the robot as the actual disc would have. So there was more of a chance of Carbide hitting the disc and the disc deflecting Carbide than there was of the bar doing so. That's why I think. I mean, whether it would happen, I don't really know, but I think they would have had more of a chance of doing it if they had the disc on them.
Yeah, I can see that. But at the same time, I think Aftershock's it's a quality machine. Let's not get hung up on that. It's certainly going to be tough to stop, even for Carbide or Eruption to do so.
It still makes body when I think about it, so that's the main thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Moving on, we have former UK FRA champions, Big Nipper returning, and I'm very happy about this. I love Big Nipper. Two-time FRA champions. Sorry, my bad. Or live event champions, whatever. I don't know what it is. It's all complicated. I don't understand it.
The FRA UK Heavyweight Championship. Yeah, you were right the first time.
I was right. Okay, but Big Nipper, great machine. Tough heat to be in. I mean, this heat in general is just going to be hard. I mean, Big Nipper's really, really good, and could even be a dark horse even in this heat to win the heat. I mean, it's fast, it's aggressive, it's got the disc, it's got the lifting forks if they need it as well. What it's tough. It's got grade 5 titanium on it. What more can you say?
I love Big Nipper. Again, referring to what I said earlier about it, I think that it's got a great control weapon. I'm not so much of a fan of it with the disc as I am with the claws, but the disc does get the job done when it needs to, so I'm not going to argue too much about that. It's a well-driven machine. I like how it drifts along the arena as well. I think that's really cool. But the problem is it's in a really stacked heat here. This heat is ridiculous.
Yep.
So whether it has a chance, I don't know. I'd like to see it cause a few upsets, but I can't. But again, who knows? This heat is really hard to predict.
Yeah, this is very true. Moving on, we're on to I feel kind of bad saying this. The weakest robot in this heat is Crackers and Smash, but they're not a weak robot.
Yeah.
I mean, I say the weakest. They've got a good. I mean, I know last series they got kind of bashed around a bit by Carbide, but they're not exactly terrible. And the thing is, with the format this year, they might end up in the 10 and end up qualifying for the final anyway.
Yeah. I like Crackers and Smash. I don't think it's my favourite cluster bot of all of them, but I do like it. Yeah. I love to see it get absolutely twatted again. That was great. But but no, in all honesty, yeah, I think because they've slightly improved them again as well, haven't they? They've done minor improvements which should hopefully benefit it quite a bit.
Yep.
They've got better wedges on them now to help deflect spinners. I think is the reason for that.
I mean, they're going to need it.
Yeah, well, yeah, they're going to definitely need it. The only thing that I'm really worried about is again the weight advantage.
Yeah.
Against. The problem is, because one's 65 kilos, one's 55 kilos, if I'm right in thinking. Is that correct?
No, one's 60, one's 50.
Ah, right, okay. So, yeah, that just, for me, personally, I don't think that the two little parts are going to be heavy enough, but... Especially
with Carbide spinner going, it's going to be...
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, not being funny, right? They're in there against Carbide and Aftershock, and they've also got Big Nipper, which hasn't exactly got the most wimpiest spinners.
And then there's Eruption with a big flipper.
And there's Eruption with a huge flipper. So good luck, guys, in all honesty. But, it's understandable why they're considered the weakest of the heat, but they're still not a weak robot.
Absolutely not. And our final competitor for this heat is my absolute favourite from the modern era of Robot Wars, Gabriel, with the big wheels and the big... It's so silly, it's wonderful, and... it's such a shame to see them in this heat.
He's such a bastard, isn't it?
I mean, whoever they get, if they get Carbide or Aftershock or Big Nipper, maybe not Eruption, but certainly those three with the spinners, maybe even Crackers and Smash as well, they're going to have a hard time. Apparently, when I spoke to Craig Colliers for his interview a few months back, he did tell me off camera that he had a few surprises for spinners. I don't know how true that is, but judging by the trailer that was released, it's certainly going to have a hard time against a certain reigning champion.
Yes, I am very, very happy to see Gabriel back. I love Gabriel. I was gutted when they didn't make it for the last.
Me too.
I think it's absolutely fantastic, and it's incredible, and it's crazy, and it's weird. It's probably going to lose, but fuck it, I don't care. I love Gabriel.
Well, you say that. Okay, look at his fight against Ironside 3, right? It didn't take much damage. What's to say that against Carbide it won't take much damage either? It might just bounce off.
It did get given the willy though.
It did, but at the same time, you never know. They might be able to stop Carbide.
Yeah. Who knows? Who knows? I mean, they might be able to. Again, this is anyone's ball game. This series. There's so many great robots. It's unreal.
Yep. Pick your winner.
This is actually more difficult than I remember it being the last time I picked my winner, because this is a very stacked team. When you think about it, you got two two-time FRA UK heavyweight champions in Eruption and Big Nipper.
Yep.
You've got the reigning champions Carbide. You've also got Gabriel, which is very hard to hit and get a hold of. You've got Crackers and Smash, which is just amazing. And you've got Aftershock, which is... But logically... Yeah, Carbide. Logically, Carbide's going to win this one.
I'm of the same mind. I think it's between the two grand finalists from last series. I think it's between Eruption and Carbide to win this heat. It's going to be tough for either of them to win, but I think ultimately that will end up being the heat final. And I think the loser of said heat final will win the 10-way.
Yeah, I mean that's just I think, to be honest, any robot in this heat that actually gets into the 10-way rumble, I think personally has a great chance of winning it anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it pains me to say, I think Aftershocks, we might not see Will Thomas in the final for the first time in the reboot.
No, Will Thomas for president.
But it could be Carbide that don't make it to the grand final. It's such a weird heat. I mean, as much as the Carbide was the standout robot last series, it might not be this year. We just don't know.
Yeah, you know what this is, don't you? This is Heat F of Series 6.
Oh yeah, with just every robot ever that's good.
Yeah,
in it.
yeah. I mean, they had not being funny. They had 6 potential heat finalists and probably even semi-finalists in that bloody heat. It really annoyed me, but at the same time, it was a really good heat because there was some great battles because there was just some great robots in it.
Absolutely.
And this is exactly the same here as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it ultimately boils down to how much damage everyone takes in the opening rounds. Like if Eruption can avoid damage from Aftershock, they might end up beating Carbide. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. Anyway, our next heat comes across, and we start off with Apex, the big bar spinner from last series.
Bar spinner.
Joining the Apex duo from last series is Craig from Foxic, obviously joining his brother and Sam, and then is it Sam? It is Sam, and then also joining them is Jack Tweedy from the Beetleweight scene. He's a very good Beetleweight called Tempest, and he's joining them as well for Series 10. I really like the look of Apex. It's a very weird bar, but I like it.
It looks like a guitar.
That's what I thought. When I first saw it, it looks like a guitar.
Guitar spinner.
Guitar spinner. I like it. I mean, it's Apex. It's a big glass cannon, but it's going to cause some carnage either to itself or its opponents. So we'll have to wait and see.
It will either go out in sparks or cause others to go out in sparks.
Yeah, I think could it be a heat finalist? Hell, maybe if it catches opponents right, it could well be. But it's going to be a tough ask this heat. This heat's very different to the last one in a sense that all the robots are they're all good, but it's a much more open heat. There's no real standout competitor. Yes,
I agree with that. Unlike the other heat where there's too many stand-up competitors, this heat there's none at all.
There's no one where you think, oh yeah, they're definitely going to win this heat.
Yeah. What I have with Apex really is it's reliability.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing about the Danbies is, again, bless them, they've got like this curse on them where reliability is just not their friend at all.
No.
They've struggled a lot on both the live circuit and on the in the televised series as well. I mean, even back in the original Robot Wars, they entered in the weight class, different weight divisions with featherweights and antweights, and they still had bad luck there.
It's true.
I hope God they do well though with Apex because they do deserve it. I mean, they're up there with Beermoth as one of the longest run and Terror as one of the longest running teams going today,
Yep.
and Supernova.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Moving on from Apex, we have Bucky, a newcomer to the series, and I love it. It's a giant clamp of teeth.
You know what it is? It's literally, when at Halloween you get those generic vampire fangs?
No,
A pair of them
like
attached to the front of a robot.
like the giant. You get you twist it up like a clockwork set of teeth that chatter.
Oh yeah,
That's what this is. This is what Bucky is. I love it. It just looks wonderful. It looks threatening. It's big. It's bulky. I mean, what is there not to love?
I think it looks great. I love it. But at the same time, I feel that it's more of a novelty robot than an actual serious competitor.
My one issue I have with Bucky is that I don't think it'll last very long against a heavy spinner, or
No.
like it doesn't. It looks a bit flimsy. Not in a sense of like it's gonna fall to pieces or anything. Like I think it looks grand and majestic, but I just don't think there's much like grit to it. I think something could just rip it apart. Something like Apex, for example, could damage Bucky quite a lot. But I think it's brilliant. Moving on, we'll come to the most expensive robot in history, I think, at this point, Rapid. Internally, again, a work of art. Externally, a little bit more this time. They've got some polycarb on it, so you can actually see the sexy gubbins inside of Rapid.
Polycarbonate is the Robot Wars equivalent of lingerie.
It really is.
It's absolutely fantastic. I mean, the last Rapid I wasn't too much of a fan of because I found it too bland, because obviously it was just a grey wedge.
Yeah.
This time, because you can see them sexy insides. The problem I have with Rapid, though, is the same I had with the last series. Because of the expense of the robot and because of how much high tech is in it, if something goes wrong, there's a very hard chance of being able to find a replacement or a spare or actually being able to fix it. That's what did them in last year, and that could do them in again this year.
The thing is, though, the only thing that beat Rapid last year, or the reason why they got damaged in such a way, was because they were against a big spinner in the shape of Aftershock. I don't know, I just get this feeling that Rapid's going to be really good in this heat because there's not much there other than maybe Apex is going to cause them a lot of damage. I think they've got a good...
Terahertz can go through Polycarb, no problem.
We'll get on to Terahertz in a second, but I honestly think Rapid's is a real dark horse for this heat and maybe even the series. I really genuinely think that, with a good run, Rapid could be well in there for a grand final spot.
Well, anything could have a grand final spot with a good run.
It's true. It's very true. It's very true. I'll shut up now. I won't shut up now. We'll move on to my favourite robot from the classic series, Terahertz, and I mean it's Terahertz really.
Yeah. Okay. Quick question: Gabriel or Terahertz, which is your favourite?
Ooh. I've got to go for Terahertz, but it's only just.
Fair enough.
It's only just.
That's understandable. That's cool.
That's me with the nostalgia goggles on. That is, but I love Gabriel and all, but Terahertz is just. Terahertz is great, but Terahertz, it's the Terahertz we all know and love. It's it's fast around the arena floor. It's got a nice spinner killer wedge at the front. Could be a heat finalist. Could be a grand finalist this time. What do you reckon?
Well, I mean, obviously, there's not really. I mean, the only thing that's really been done to it this year is it's been fixed. But I do think, I honestly think this could be a heat finalist and definitely, maybe even a grand finalist again. Yeah, because I mean, I think. But honestly, I'll get to this a bit later. But honestly, between this and another robot that I think will make it to the heat final. So, it's got a strong chance this year.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it always does. Let's face it.
Come on, Santa Claus, do it for us.
John Reed, the maniacal professor. What a guy. Next up, we have Track-tion, a school team, which has combined what looks like tracks from Series 7 and suicidal tendencies from Series 5 together to create this thing. And they're also the students of Will Thomas, I believe. So, I mean, it looks fabulous, doesn't it? It's an old bomb disposal robot, which you can, clearly see, but it looks nice. I think this is a really smart looking machine for, the team. And I hope they do. I hope they don't, get too trashed and never come back again, because I really like Track-tion.
Yeah, again, this is coming from someone who's quite a reasonable fan of the Series 5 version of Suicidal Tendencies. I mean, this is Suicidal Tendencies on steroids.
Yep.
There's no denying it. I mean, I really hope it does well. I want this to do well. I like it. I love it. I mean, it's got a claw that looks like it's from Arenas of Destruction, for God's sake. It needs to do well, in my opinion. But I don't know if it will, because it's got exposed tracks, and we know what spinners are like in this series, and oh, God. But I hope it does well, because they deserve it. They've built a fantastic machine.
Oh,
I mean, they're kids, for God's sake. I mean, what, are they secondary school kids?
I can't remember.
Well, yeah, hopefully they are. But yeah, so... Yeah, good luck to them though. Hopefully they do well.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And our final competitor for this heat is the Vulture. Oh, this looks this looks really nice. It looks lovely. I mean, I don't know if it's going to be reliable. I think that I can't remember the team name. They're on Facebook somewhere. I want to say Team Immersion or something like that. But they've got a really really nice wedge at the front, and the whole spinner arm comes across like Dead Metal used to do. It looks fantastic. My only query is with Vulture is, well, one, can it self-right? I'm fairly sure it can do. The other thing is how there's so much going on. Is it going to be reliable? That's my other question.
Yes,
and
that is a tough question.
And I do like the look of it. I think it looks pretty tip top. Let's face it, it's got a nice wedge, a nice weapon. It looks cool. Has it got the durability? That's my ultimate question with the Vulture. If so, this could well also be in with a chance of winning this heat.
Yeah. See, the thing I have with the Vulture as well, I mean, it reminds me a lot of Disruptor from Series 2. Obviously better. But the thing that I've had with that was obviously Disruptor's blade didn't have the best aim, and obviously didn't have the best force behind the weapon because it was on a lifting arm.
Yep.
But aesthetically, this thing is just beautiful.
Yep.
And it's one of the very few times where I hope a robot doesn't take damage, because it would be a shame to see such a gorgeous robot get wrecked. It really would.
Yeah, and they've got Apex in round one, obviously. Of course they would.
Yeah, obviously, yeah. Either Apex is going to smash it or smash itself. So, but again, it's very much like Bucky. This one, I feel it's very much of a novelty more than a true serious contender, if you ask me. But I still hope it does reasonably well. I think if it's got good driving behind it and enough reliability, it could do well.
Yeah, I agree. Pick your winner for this heat.
Terahertz. In all honesty, it's between Rapid and Terahertz in my opinion, and I think that Terahertz can go through polycarbonate relatively well. So I'm going to go with Terahertz for this one. I think if Terahertz can hit it in the right places, it will take out something.
I'm actually going to go the other way. I'm going to say Rapid's going to win this heat. I think Rapid's. I really think Rapid's on for a big series. I think grand final for Rapid this series. I really do. So something along those lines.
I'm shaking my head in disappointment at you.
The thing is that they're such a good engineering team. They would have looked at last series and thought, right, how can we fix this and make it better and make sure it never happens again? I genuinely think Rapid's going to be a really good contender this time around. But
well,
again,
obviously, I'm not saying that's what's going to do well.
I've been wrong before.
Yeah. Let's put it this way. I mean, I said the Hobgoblin was going to win last year, so obviously your Rapid's going to win this year. Then obviously, because I've said it is.
Obviously. Anyway, we'll move on to our next heat, which sees the return of... we've got a newcomer first of all. Andron 4000. Mistakenly called Androne by the book, recently released. Androne 4000. Anderson 4000, if you will. This is the closest you're ever going to have to a robot named after you, Anderson. How do you feel?
I'm upset.
In fairness, I like Andron. I really do. I think it looks cool.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool, but I just... Does it look a bit flimsy?
I can get what you're sort of saying. Like the arm looks a bit not flimsy as such, but it looks like something with a big hitting weapon is going to cause some problems.
I mean, I don't mean like fall apart by being nudged. I mean like but it looks like it's unlike some robots which could take a good few hits before they get torn to bits. This could only take like maybe one or two. But good luck to them. They've done a good job on their first machine. Is it their first robot?
I don't know if it's their first one. I mean, certainly for TV it is, but I don't know if it's their first one. I know they've had robots in the ant weights before.
Oh right. Okay.
Whether they've had one for the heavies, I don't know off the top of my head.
Okay, cool.
Okay, but there you go. Now is the return of grand finalists from the last series, Concussion. Probably the biggest surprise of last series. The newcomers going through and winning the heat. Concussion, for the most part, looks very similar. I imagine internally it's completely reworked and more reliable, and is going to be a tough robot to beat in this heat as well.
if it doesn't catch fire, yeah, it should be all right. Um,
Yeah.
I do like concussion. Though. The problem I had with concussion last series is, like I said, just because of reliability issues. I mean, fair play, it was basically falling apart inside, and it still made it to the grand final. Hopefully, with a few tweaks, this could be a dark horse and maybe even the champion of the series. I wouldn't be surprised if they could make the grand final again if they've retweaked their innards.
Yeah, they're clever guys. You know, they've obviously gone away and worked on the inside rather than the outside.
You can't have a mohawk like that and not be clever.
We love you, Tim. Please come back to us.
Please come back on the show. You were honestly a great laugh. Honestly, I would love to see you back here again.
Absolutely. We'll move on to the return of a robot which we haven't seen since Series 7 on TV. On the live circuit, though, they have been kicking ass and taking names. Who am I talking about? It's Iron Ore. Iron Ore 6, I think this one is specifically they've referred it to. I think, because obviously Iron Ore 6 was red for a while and now it's yellow again. What a machine this is. I mean, on the live circuit, as I said, it's won the UK Tour a couple of times, hasn't it?
It won the UK Heavyweight Championships.
I want to say 2011 it won it, didn't it? Something
No,
like that.
2011 Ripper won it, I think. Or was that 2012? Oh, I don't bloody know.
It's won it before. It's won it before.
It's won it before. I know it. I think it won 2009 and 2011. I think that's what it did. So I think you're right there.
And Iron Ore, I mean, it's a great flipper. This is a far cry from what we saw in Series 7. Iron Ore nowadays is a real top contender, and I think is probably the main threat for concussion in this heat.
Yeah, the Grims have actually become legends on the live circuit because of this. It is a true tough robot now.
I mean, if you look at a lot of the
Serious
designs,
contender. This thing is scary. I mean, when you look back at their Series 4 robot, and you would turn around and say that they were as successful as they are today, I would have laughed in your face.
yeah, Iron Ore Mark 1 was oh boy, it was something. It was something.
With the wooden axe of death.
I mean, I don't think it ever actually worked, did it? Iron Ore, the original one, but Iron Ore nowadays is certainly a far cry from that, and I can't wait to see this thing finally in the Robot Wars arena in the new series. Moving on, we have the Kegs, built by the same team that bought us Terra Turtle, so which means it's going out of the arena, especially seeing as though it's got Iron Ore in round 1. It's going to go out of the arena. I mean, what the Kegs is brilliant. It's but my one gripe with the Kegs, and thank you to our good friend Mr. Dave Laurie for pointing this out to me. Why is it called the Kegs when it's just one keg? It's cut in half. It's just one keg in half.
That's a very, very good point. The answer to that is very simple. They were drunk after drinking it all.
The beer. Of course.
How could I mean, that's just common sense, isn't it?
How can I make a mistake like that? But I like the Kegs. They've got two small spinners. I don't think it's going to set the world alight, that's for sure. But it's a decent enough machine. I think it's no worse competitively than, say, Terra Turtle is it?
No, yeah, I mean, if anything, I think it's got more potential than Terra Turtle, to be honest. It looks great. It looks like a barrel of laughs.
Dear.
Sorry, I know that was horrendous, wasn't it? But no, in all honesty, I love John Fritz. I think he's a great guy. He's one of the teams who's like sort of behind the scenes funny.
Yeah.
Like he makes fun machines, but he doesn't like over the top show it like the Dietor team or the Plunderbird team. He's just there. He has a laugh. He gets smashed up. He goes home.
Yeah.
And he's also a really nice guy as well. I mean, he does a lot for charities and wildlife conservation as well.
Yeah, obviously, Terra Turtle was there to save the turtle, or supposedly.
Exactly.
Yeah. So why not? Maybe this is to save all beer everywhere. Who knows?
Yes.
Moving on from the Kegs is our good old friends over at Team Nuts and Nuts 2. Didn't really work in the last series. It's a real shame we didn't get to see its multi-brain spinner in action, or its multi-brain function. You know what I mean? It moves around the arena, a bit like a spinning top, really, but it can be influenced the way it goes.
Yeah.
Nuts 2... I don't know what to think about Nuts 2. Nuts 2, we don't know how good it is. We haven't seen it. Having seen it a little bit on the live circuit since Series 9, could it do well?
Yeah, I think it could, but at the same time, the thing about Nuts is, again, it's very much a novelty. I find the team entertaining. I find the robot very entertaining. But even with the multi-brain technology and even with it working properly, I can't see the novelty outbeating the technology. If that makes sense. And
I can see that.
I think that personally, especially in there with Iron or robots like Iron Ore, I can see it going out the arena easily.
Well, we saw that happen last time, didn't we?
Yes, Matilda giving it a nice ass.
That beautiful shot of it flying out of the arena from Matilda's backside was something else. I mean, I hope for the guys they have a good series. I think, last series was such a having, spoken with Rory a little bit himself, last series, Series 9 was a massive disappointment for them. They arrived and it just didn't work. So I hope for their sake they turn up and put on a good show. That's what they're all about, Team Nuts anyway. And finally we have the return of the dirtiest robot in Robot Wars history. The Tom Brewster returns with Tauron 2. This is properly wicked. I like this. I really like this.
I'm going to say this now, okay, Tom. I hope you're listening. Right, it's bad enough that you have a voice like a sex god and I don't. Okay. It's bad enough that you get to make a living off of playing video games while I'm stuck in a dead-end job making barely any money, okay? Right? But I will not have you dick tease me again, okay? Last series, mate, I was expecting full-on, Banus, and what did I get? A limp one at the end of it. If you do not last past the first round, I swear to God, I will personally hunt you down.
I have to say,
got any good talking to?
I have to say, Tauron 2 looks a lot more like it. Like, Tauron 1 looked good, but it looked a bit it looked too big and bulky and a bit weedy in terms of the weapon. It's the other way around this time. The body's a lot more shrunk down and more compact. The weapon's a bit more chunky, and it looks like it's going to give someone a good smashing, doesn't it? Really, I love Tauron 2. I really hope that for his sake, Tom's a really nice kid. I hope that they do really well. I think they will do well.
Yeah, I hope so too. And also, again, wouldn't mind having him back on here again. Nice guy.
Yeah, Tom, if you're listening, please come back.
Hit us up.
Hopefully we'll see the ultimate grudge match between Tom and Tim again, because obviously last time it was just kind of a boop from concussion, and that was the end of Tauron. Hopefully we get to see them actually fight each other this time. That'd be really a real cool thing to see. Pick your winner for this heat, Anderson.
I'm gonna have to go with concussion. I think last year it won its heat with malfunction problems. Without them, hopefully, if they sorted it out properly, I think we could be seeing a really dangerous robot this year. So I'm gonna go with concussion. I'm
going to agree. I think concussion, maybe Iron Ore. Iron Ore is probably the one big threat for concussion this heat, because Iron Ore's got the big flipper, very scary robot to fight. Who knows? It's a tough one to call this heat. I think Tauron as well is no slouches, and I think they could really be quite close at the end of it. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
And next heat sees quite a few returning. In fact, they're all returning robots from last series, which is I think unique to this heat, apart from one. I don't know, but we see the return of the Scots and Coyote. Jamie McHarg's crushing jaws and lifting jaws are back, with what looks like gas piping around the side of it, which would be appropriate because he's a gas engineer. I mean, what can I say? It's Coyote, and it's a beautiful robot.
Yeah, still beautiful. Hopefully it won't get mangled as much this year, but I don't take this the wrong way if you are watching Mr. McHarg, but I don't see it doing too well again this year.
In fairness, it's in a pretty brutal heat as well.
It is. It's in a very. I mean, that's the reason why, really, because it's in a very brutal heat as it is, and yeah.
It's gonna be tough for Coyote, but who knows? It's a good control bot by the looks of things. So if they can get underneath people and carry them around, who knows? They might have a good run, but it's gonna be a tough ask this heat. This heat's kind of a bit like the second heat we reviewed. It's a bit of a stacked one. We'll move on to Expulsion. What happened to the last one? What happened to whatever Expulsion was before? It's gone, and in its place is I don't know what.
I know. It's so weird, isn't it? I mean, this thing, I don't know what it is. It's so hard to explain.
I mean, there's
It looks
spinning.
like
There's something that spins on the front. That's obvious enough. But what
I've
does
just
it do?
realised something. It looks like it's made out of Meccano.
It does look like it's made out of
I've
Meccano.
just realised that.
I
It looks like it's made out of Meccano.
I just Expulsion Team. If you're out there,
That's not me being mean, by the way.
no. You know, I can't remember this teacher's name. Well, it'll come to me. But what does it do? I don't understand. It looks cool. I have to say, you know, I think the front thing's meant to spin. The front panel's meant to spin, and then having seen it a little bit, you know, in testing, you know, it on the trailer in particular, it spins around like a mad thing. But what does it do? I don't understand it. I think it looks cool, but I can't wait to see it in action.
It looks like it's built like a rock as well. Like it looks really tough.
It's small. It's very small and compact. So I think it could well be a. Yeah, well, we're not going to talk about that. But it certainly is. You know, it's a little machine, and I think it could be a potential surprise. But maybe, who knows? Moving on is Anderson. Time for your regret from last series, and Hobgoblin is back in the arena.
Oh my god! I was. Oh my god, mate! No, I'm still hurt over there. I mean, it hurt more than Harambe. I'm not even joking. That loss, man. That loss. It just. Oh.
Oh dear. But in fairness, Harry's gone away and he's figured out what the issue was with Hobgoblin before. And it was the scoop at the front was kind of running against the ground a bit too closely and stopping it from driving correctly. So that's now gone. It's in place of its some smaller wedges. Maybe Hobgoblin will do a lot better this series. I think it's certainly got a chance. It's going to be tough, but they've got a chance.
Yeah, I still think they have a chance. I mean, they last year they were just really unlucky.
Yep.
I'm hoping that it does really well this year because, like I said, we've seen egg beat spinners on the featherweight circuit, and they can send robots of the same weight flying. So imagine what a heavyweight version of that can do. If it works, we can see some good stuff. Of course, that's if it works. if it doesn't, then I'm going to cry.
I think we all will. It's a really pretty looking machine, and I hope for House's sake that it does work this time, and we get to see some good stuff from Hobgoblin. It's in a tough heat, but it's one of the tougher ones, so we'll have to wait and see. And now the next robot. I'm having to contain myself here. Magnetar, the new version of Pulsar. We've talked endlessly on this podcast about Ellisware's robots and just how pretty and stunning they are. I think the new paint scheme on Magnetar, coupled with the fact that it's got this new demonic hum, which has been uploaded onto their Facebook and Twitter pages. If you haven't seen them already, go and check them out. Holy moly, this thing looks incredible, and I mean, I love it. I just love this thing.
Oh man, it looks beautiful, doesn't it? I'm not gonna lie, this thing looks sexy as.
Yeah.
Hopefully, the reliability will back it up this time.
This is the only Achilles. My only fear for Magnetar. I think Magnetar is going to be the one to watch at this heat. I really, really do. But my only gripe with it is obviously last series we saw. It was in a very unique heat in the fact that it was mostly spinners and it was taking damage so much per fight. Will the reliability hold? It's been a constant issue for Ellis since doing Robot Wars. Pulsar Mark 1 and 2 both struggled with their internal functions. Hopefully, my fingers are crossed and everything else is crossed for him that those gripes will stay away. Can it do it this time? Can it stay the course and maybe even win the championship like you thought they would do back in Series 8?
Yeah, I definitely think it's got a strong chance if the reliability holds up. But the thing is, that's a big if, though. I mean,
yes,
you can say if all you want. I mean, we can say that with any robot. I mean, for example, Terahertz could do well if it's reliable enough. Behemoth could do well if it's reliable enough. Judging by a robot without bringing reliability into it, then yes, I definitely think Magnetar has a very, very, very strong chance because it has got the capability of doing it. Yeah. Ellis is a fantastic engineer. He's a fantastic robot builder. He makes up for his height with his engineering and robot building skills. So
bring on the hate comments.
bring on the hate comments, guys. I'm ready for this one. I love you, Alex. Really, I'm joking, Alex. I love you.
I really love Magnetar, and my hope is that he can go out there and put on a real good show. Same with with a lot of other machines. I think this is a really strong chance if it can avoid too much damage early on internally. I think this is going to be a really exciting robot to watch.
Yeah.
Moving on, we have Push to Exit. Shane Swan is back with his front hinge flipper from last series and joined by two new team members. Gone are most of the old S-Tech guys, and in come our good friend Vote Saxon from YouTube land. And I know, I've never heard of him either. We love you, Stephen. And of course Anthony as well. Anthony, I don't know. I apologise if it's Anthony or which one it is. But those guys are joining Shane Swan, and I mean, Push to Exit, we never really got to see it do anything last series, which is a real shame. Hopefully this year it will do.
Yeah, hopefully. I love a good front hinge flipper. Firestorm, love it. So hopefully, yeah, because this is the only front hinge flipper in the series, isn't it?
I believe so, yes.
Come on, Shane, do it for us, mate. Come on. Please revitalise the front hinge flipper. I love a good front hinge flipper. They're good. They're cheeky. Will it do well? See, the problem is my main worry again is reliability, because I mean, if one hit from PP3D is all it took last year.
In fairness, though, PP3D is something special.
So are a lot of other robots.
This is true. It's got it's got a tough heat. Magnetar and Hobgoblin in the same heat as it, and whatever Expulsion does. I mean, it's going to be a tough heat either way. But there is one more robot that it has to contend with, and that is the mighty hammer of Thor. Jason is back with Thor, another new Thor, and it looks very similar, like conceptually, to the last one, but it really is a big improvement, and I love it. I think it's great. Can he finally win a heat?
Yeah. I think he has a very strong chance of finally winning a heat. I mean, it's when it comes down to it, I mean, I've mentioned reliability a lot so far. This is the most reliable robot of the heat we've gone to so far when it comes to reliability.
This is true. Like, this Thor, apart from in Series 8 when it kind of had its little issue against Shockwave, hasn't really broken down. I know they've been doing a lot of new things with the pneumatic system, Jason, but I don't know whether that'll affect it too much, because he's obviously such a good driver. It's got a good wedge. What's to say that Thor doesn't need the pneumatics and can just push robots around and win like that?
Yeah, exactly. And it's a tough robot as well.
Yeah.
It's much stronger. I mean, and because he's slightly refined the armor again now, the shape of the robot. So again, it should be more tougher, a bit bulkier, a bit more compact.
Mm-hmm.
So fingers crossed. I mean,
yeah.
God, Jason, do it, mate. You deserve it after all these years.
It's his time to shine. Well, maybe it's his time to shine. We'll come on to our heat prediction. Who do you think is going to win this heat?
In all honesty, yeah, Thor.
You're going to go for Thor?
I'm going to go for Thor. Again, it's a tough heat because there are some stacked robots. I want to say Hobgoblin, but I know in my luck, if I do say that, it will lose again. So if I say I don't think it's going to do well, hopefully it'll win. So I'm going to go for Thor. No, I'm joking. But yeah, no, it's honestly Thor because of reliability, toughness. Jason's a very experienced competitor, and he knows what he's doing, and he does deserve it. So hopefully, Thor.
I'm reliability pending. I'm going with Magnetar for this one. I think I expect them to not win the heat last year against Ironside, and I think they did a really good job against them regardless. So with that big windmill out the way, I genuinely think that Magnetar is going to be a really tough competitor to beat, and I think they will be the ones to watch in this heat. I think they're going to be right up there. Which brings us to our series winner. Who's it going to be, Anderson?
Oh God, it's going to be Carbide again, isn't it? I'm sorry. I don't want to sound too obvious, but I mean, if again we're taking reliability out of this equation here, so just pure battle on battle, who's the toughest robot? Carbide.
Okay.
I have to say that. I mean, I can't say I don't want Carbide to do well, because I do. At the end of the day, it would be mean of me. It would be unfair of me not to say I don't want it to do well. But at the same time, I just realistically I can't see it not winning. or at least stop being a strong enough contender to win. What about you?
It is tough. I mean, I as I said earlier on, I think whoever wins the heat, or maybe even not who wins the heat, I think it's going to be between Carbide and Eruption again. I think those two are just such at a high level that I think they're going to be tough to beat. And I think the only other robots that could come close to them are maybe Rapid, maybe Apollo, maybe even Concussion or Magnetar. Who knows? I think those are going to be the 5 robots that are going to be the ones to watch in this series. I think they've proven their worth before. I think I'm going to plumb with. I'm going to go with Eruption. I'm going to go with Eruption to win the series. I think they've got a really strong chance, and who knows? I think it's either going to be them or Carbide for me, but it depends who comes out in the most pieces, really, doesn't it? But that concludes our giant preview. Nowhere near as big as it was last series for obvious reasons, because there's only 2 of us and there's less competitors. But hey, you know what? I think we're doing quite well. Let us know what you think is going to happen heat by heat in the comments section. I mean, we'd love to hear what you guys have to say, and hope you'll continue to join us for our weekly reviews once again. We've got
not long now.
No, we've got a good selection of guests once again. They've some are returning, maybe some new faces as well along the way, which should be quite nice. But hope you enjoyed this video. I've been Sam Alert 64.